Florida's Stark Prison, Death Row, home of Old Sparky, the condemned's final home before electrocution. In 1989, Florida's news and television media were allowed to tour the facilities in Stark. This was a one-time event. The media was never allowed inside the prison walls before, nor will it ever be again. I had the opportunity to be part of the group that was allowed access to Florida's most notorious killers. In reality, Florida has 3 death rows. 54 condemned men are housed in a special wing at Florida State Prison near Stark. The remaining 320 men are incarcerated in a building at Union Correctional Institution in nearby Rayford. A total of 380 inmates are incarcerated on Florida's death rows. 219 are white, 135 are black, 20 are of other races. They receive mail every day except holidays and weekends. Church services are available on closed-circuit television. Inmates are escorted everywhere in handcuffs and shackles. Inmates can have a black and white TV, no cable, radios, snacks, and cigarettes in their cells. Visitors are allowed on weekends only, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Showers are one every other day.
How is it? Dumb question, but is it always this high? A lot of people think y'all are sitting up here watching color TV and air conditioning. Could you speak up a little bit, please?
What's it like sitting up here 12 years waiting to go to the show?
Clothing consists of orange t-shirts and blue pants. A day-to-day cell on death row measures 6 feet wide by 9 feet long by 9.5 feet high. Three meals a day are served on trays at 5 a.m., 10:30 a.m., and 4 p.m. The condemned are allowed to exercise twice a week for 2 hours in the exercise yard.
Okay, folks. I'm going to start with the time that the governor signs the warrant and talk you through what happens. The governor signs the warrant, the general Counselor's office will notify me. I'll get the individual inmate up to the administrative area where you came through Times Square, tell him about the warrant, get some information from him, give him an opportunity to call his attorney and one member of his family. At that point in time, the individual inmate is moved from the strata housing location to one of these cells on the bottom floor of Q Wing here. There are 6 cells. He will remain there until the execution is carried out or else he gets a stay. At this time, I'll just give you an opportunity to go look at the cells, take some pictures of them, and then we'll go into the execution chamber.
What's the reaction you normally get when you advise them that in fact the warrant's been signed?
It depends on the individual. Some of them think it's a joke, others get very depressed, and others kind of have prepared themselves for it.
Is this generally a quiet way? You know, it's not a stupid question, but is it quiet? Are the people all mundane, quiet?
It's normally quiet. This is a massive cell block up on the second 2 floors.
But I mean, do they seem to be resolved to their fate?
Yes, most cases they are.
The Death Watch cell, where an inmate is placed once the governor signs a death warrant. It measures 12 feet by 7 feet wide by 8.5 feet high.
Death Watch.
This was the very Death Watch cell that serial killer Ted Bundy occupied before he was electrocuted on January 24th, 1989.
The warrant's been signed and we get ready to do the execution. The day prior to execution, the food service manager will come down here, get the order for the last meal from the inmate. He will, the next morning, the morning of the execution, will personally prepare that meal, deliver it to him personally, and be here until he consumes the meal. At the conclusion of the meal, we will prepare the individual for the execution. That's simply bring him out of the cell, set him in a straight chair here, give him a haircut, shave his head, his right leg, put the subject in the shower him, dress him, and put him back in the cell. He'll remain in the cell until I come get him at 7 o'clock, if that's the time of the execution, and we go through this door behind me, going into the execution chamber. Now, when you get into the execution chamber, I'm going to let you take whatever shots you want, anywhere in the chamber, anywhere in the witness room, but don't take a shot of my equipment on the control panel. I'll show that to you. You can look at it. I don't want you to shoot it. Simply because if you shoot it, and we have people out there now can look at photography and determine what kind of equipment I've got, and it just gives another possibility to sabotage if anybody ever wants to do that. So I'd ask that you not shoot the control panel. You can look at it and take whatever else you want.
Now, can I ask you one question? How do you keep the process from becoming dehumanizing? I know that's a crazy word to use, but without it becoming animalistic, if you would.
Well, I don't know what your terminology animalistic is. I don't know of any other humane way you can do this other than just tell a guy looking straight in the eye and tell you that the governor has signed your warrant, the execution is set on such and such date at such and such time, and if that comes to pass the night before, I'll come sit down and tell you everything is going to happen. And that's what I do. Everybody in? Yeah, I want to say this one time, but everybody needs to come in, you have to get some order. What? That's This is the chin strap, and this is the headpiece. Of course, the sponge fits up through the headpiece. This attaches the electrode and silver core to the sponge itself. Okay, sir.
When an inmate is electrocuted at 2400 volts, the body temperature rises to 138 degrees Fahrenheit. It is too hot to touch. It is literally burnt meat.
Is there any time limit on the final statements, or could they theoretically go on a long time?
Sorry?
Is there any time limit on their final statement?
We didn't until just recently, and it started to ramble on and on, something like 5 minutes, and at that point,
Okay, John, basically, what's the purpose of today's, tour of the press?
Well, the primary reason is to give the public, through the media, a first-hand look at what really goes on around here. You know, there seem to be a lot of misconceptions and people believing what they want to believe. You hear the idea of death row, and it tends to be a scary thought. And the purpose really is to give folks a good idea of what the reality is in here.
What is that reality as far as the governor is concerned?
Well, the reality is that it's a stark, barren place that nobody should ever want to be. On the same, by the same hand, there are people who, unfortunately, by their actions, deserve to be here, need to be here, and have their sentences carried out. And I guess the real message is that folks ought to do what they can to stay away from here. But if they get sentenced, they're going to end up being here eventually. Executions are highly visible events, yet most folks don't have any idea what really goes on. And this is a chance to make sure that people do have a better idea of what goes on.